8th grade, we are going to start a new drawing this week. We are going to do a 2-point perspective drawing of a gingerbread house. So you'll need a pencil, a ruler, and your sketchbook to get started. All right, let's do this. Okay, let's go to a new page in our sketchbook. You're going to want to probably turn this so that it is going landscape style. For you guys at home, I'm going to attach a sheet that has some different styles of houses. They could be gingerbread houses, to give you some ideas as well, as I'm going to show you some examples on here. All right, so let me get this centered up here. We want to start with our horizon line. And normally I would say we have it up and we have a lot of ground, but for now we're just going to work on the house. So our horizon line could be a little bit lower than the halfway mark. Again, you kind of want that to be pretty light. All right, I might go a little darker so that it shows up on camera here. Let's see how close I can get. That's not too bad. And then we're working with 2-point perspective, so we want to have a vanishing point on either end of our horizon line, okay? Some of this is going to get erased in the middle because the house is going to go there. We just want to make sure that we have that horizon line in. We're going to start with a simple box, all right? So you're going to decide where you want a corner. I like 2-point perspective because it gives you a corner angle and the two side angles go off towards the vanishing point. So I think it's a little bit more realistic than when we do 1-point perspective. All right. It doesn't have to be in the center, okay? Depending on what side you want the door on, what side you want to start on. I usually just kind of pick a side and get a line drawn in there. So we want to make sure that we're always using our 2 points. We want to make sure that we're going in the direction of those points. So we start with a line here, and the top of that line has to go in the direction of the left vanishing point and the right vanishing point. And so we're going to use our ruler to help guide us. We don't have to draw the line all the way down to the point. We just have to go as long as we want the building to go. And this line here can be as tall as you want it to be. I didn't go up very high because I am going to put a roof on here as well. So again, some of these lines should be kind of light. You're going to do some erasing, and then you can always darken them up in a little bit here. So I'm just going to go out just a little ways with the top of this line and the bottom of this line. Again, I've got to make sure I'm lined up with my point. And then I'm going to do the same on the other side. So, and they don't have, you can decide how far out they go. This line's a little shorter than that line. That's okay. There's always adding and subtracting of different things. Now, to get the sides of our 2-point perspective box, we don't want to connect these lines, because if I connect these lines, this is going to be going at an angle, and that's not the proper perspective for that. So I just drew my lines out knowing I was going to erase a little bit. But normally what I do is I line it up with the first line that I've drawn, and then I just try to slide this over. If I need to extend this line out, then I have to go back to it, but I'm going to actually stop on this line here and connect them. And that way at least it's nice and straight up and down. Really what we want is whatever's happening in the front, the back should be doing the same thing. They're both going up and down. So my front here, I'm going to slide it over. This one's a little longer. And then any extra I'm going to erase. And you saw I got rid of the horizon line in my other side. So now I have a box in 2-point perspective. So this is a great start for our gingerbread house. Again, I want to kind of go lightly because I'm going to add gingerbread features to it, but I want to start working on a roof. So a gable roof or a triangled roof, we just have to pick what side we want the triangle to be on, and it could be either side. And I think I'm going to go with this because I want to do more decorations on the thicker side. So here's what I do. I want my roof to look like it's going straight up along the edge of this wall here. So I usually try to find about where the center point is at. And then I line up my ruler with that. And I want to make sure that it's straight up and down, just like the edges of my house here. And I'm going to pick a point, and I'm going to pick one way up here. It could be here, it could be there, wherever you want it to be. I'm going to go all the way up. And then I'm going to start to make my triangle. So from this little dot here, I'm not going to go out to my vanishing points. What I'm going to do is I'm going to connect it to the house. So from here to the corner, and from here to the corner, there I've got my nice triangle. Now, since the bottom of my house is going out to the left and the top of the house is going out to the left, I really want the top of my roof to go out that way as well. So I've got to line it up with the vanishing point. And this, again, I'm just going to draw it out just a little ways. This gives me the proper perspective for the roof here, all right? So I want, again, like we did here, the front, because this is the farthest, the closest part. This is the front, and the back look the same. You want to do the same for the roof. The front is at an angle, so I'm going to slide this over at an angle, stop on my back corner, and so I want to make sure that these two look the same as well, and I'm going to go and get rid of that little piece right there. So I basically have a nice plain house in 2-point perspective, and now I'm going to start to design it a little bit more so that it looks like a gingerbread house. So this line here can stay, or you can get rid of it. A lot of times the siding or the bricks or whatever you're going to put on there will go all the way up through here. I'm going to get rid of it just because I'm going to put I think a unique window in there if I can. I'm going to show you a couple basics, all right? We'll start with some windows. I'm going to put a couple windows on this side, and they're just going to be plain, but I'll show you how you can also make them a little bit more rounded, a little bit more unique, all right? So I'm just going to come off of this corner just a little bit. I'm just going to go right here. And I just started with a plain old line. So again, just like I did here, I started with a plain line. Since I'm on the left side of the building, I want to draw my lines going towards the left vanishing point. And since I'm making 2 windows, I'm going to go a little longer with this line. If I wanted to just make 1, I would stop it a little shorter, but I'm going to go the length almost of the wall. So there's my first line, and then again, I got to take the bottom, make sure I'm using the vanishing point, and I'm going to go out like so. And then I'm going to make a back. So this is going to look like one large window, all right? The reason I drew my lines out so long was to save a little bit of time. I do have to do a little bit more of erasing, but with this, I can draw a line going up and down in here, and I can draw a line going up and down in here, and I can leave it like that, or I can take away the middle, and now I have 2 individual windows. The one in the front should be a little bit bigger than the one in the back because they are going in perspective, all right? For a door, we want to make sure we're starting on the bottom of the house. Again, I usually start the closest to the nearest point, or the nearest corner, and so this is coming out towards me. I'm going to just start with a line here for a door. We take the top and the bottom. Since I'm on the right side of the house, I'm going to go towards the right vanishing point. The bottom is already done for me, so I don't have to worry about that. I'm just going to work on lining up the top, go out towards the vanishing point, and then again, whatever's happening on one side usually is happening on the other side. Now this one looks kind of awkward because it is right even with the horizon line, but that is how it would go. Sometimes I like to stop a little higher or a little lower, depending on what's going on, but this is just how this end up happening. It's not wrong, it just sometimes looks a little bit awkward, all right? If you wanted these to be a little bit more rounded, maybe we wanted some oval windows, I will lightly sometimes add in these rectangles, and this gives me an area to work with, and I can start to round, because they're not going to be circular because they're on an angle, they're going at an angle, they're going to be more of an oval. This gives me an area to contain them in if I wanted to do that, or if I wanted to take the tops and just maybe round the top, I could get rid of the corners like that. I'm going to leave them square for now, but I maybe round the top here. It depends on what kind of stuff I want to add to it, right? So anytime I want to start a window, again, I'm just going to put a line in. All right, I got to look at the side of the house I'm on. Since this is on a flat surface here, I'm going to go to my right vanishing point. from the top and the bottom. Got to make sure you use those vanishing points or they're not going to look like they're in proper perspective. And I think I made this one the same length as the door here, or width. So I'm going to continue with that. All right. So we got some windows and some doors. There's a couple ways to do a chimney. All right. I could do a line off the top of the roof. And again, this is the easiest way to go. Draw my lines going to my vanishing point. I'm just going to take the top of this line because the bottom of the line is on the back side of the house. If we don't see it, we don't have to draw it. This is why it's the easiest. I've just made a line. I've gone out to my vanishing points, and I can continue that line down there and down there. We don't see the bottom because it's on the other side, and you have a simple chimney. Now, if you want one that's coming out of the roof here, my line would have continued onto the roof, all right? I would take the top and the bottom, go out to my vanishing points. I would take the bottom of this line and go towards, since I'm on the left side, towards the left vanishing point. I would continue this line down here. The only difference is this line here would come down just a little bit, but I'm not going to make it even with it because it is coming out of the slanted roof. I need to make a slant similar. And actually, I'm going to go all the way where I was at. Yep. So I could just leave it right at the top. This way, at least it makes it look like it's coming out of the slant of the house. All right? So easy chimneys on the other side. You just keep a line, draw points, or draw lines out to your point, and then continue those lines. That's a pretty easy one. Sometimes they're on the back. Really what I want to do now is I want to add some extras. All right. Most of the time the roofs don't line up flush with it. They kind of hang out a little bit off the edge, so that way the rain can run off. So I'm going to extend some of those, and really all I'm doing is repeating what's going on in the front. And so I try to go, let's see here, try to see how far down I'm going to go. Getting rid of some of my extra lines in there. Something like that. This is going towards the point. It's hanging down pretty good here, but I'm going to have some nice icing hanging off of this. I can extend this down. So I'm just adding a thickness to this roof, basically. So get rid of some of the extra lines. But now at least it looks like it's hanging over the edges, and I can start to decorate this. Now there's some things in here that are going to stay the same, and there's some things that are going to change. Let's say that I wanted to put in some candy canes, because I'm going to start thinking of it as a gingerbread house. So on either side of this corner, I am going to come down to the edge. I'm going to get rid of the corner because the candy cane is normally rounded, and get rid of that sharp cornered edge, and I'm going to start to round the edge like that. On the other corners that we don't see, I'm going to just extend them out just a little bit. I could probably stick with the one that's on there. In fact, I think I'm going to try to do that. No, I got to make it a little bit thicker. I'm going to come out just a little bit more. I'm going to keep with my same old corner. I'm just going to round, and I'm going to do the same on this side. I'm going to come down, just get rid of the edge a little bit and kind of round it off so that it is more of a cylinder shape from there. All right. And then I can go in and add a nice swirl detail. And some of these things that are more organic, that are more rounded, I don't have to worry about bringing them to my point, since I have done the basic shape of the house correctly. I'm not real worried about stuff like this. And then I can do that on all of them, and I can make that swirl go any way I want, because that's the best part about being an artist, is you get to decide all that stuff. All right. I'm going to go and work on this a little bit more, adding some details and just keeping it a simple pencil drawing right now. Look at some of those examples, or you can always Google search gingerbread houses, and you'll find a lot of cool ideas that you can incorporate into yours. All right? So I kind of stopped right now because I wanted to show you a couple things. It doesn't have to stay this size of this house. If you wanted to add on to the back or this side over here, it's pretty simple to do. A lot of times what we're doing is we're just kind of going away from the edge. So let's say that I was going to put an add-on to the back of this. Since I want to go away from the house, I have to go from I can't go to the left point, I've got to go from the right point, and I'm moving away from the house there. So I just kind of went from that corner, and then I'm just going to pick another side, and I'm going to try to keep it about the same size as the wall here. Let me go from here, all right, and then I'm going to have a line that goes kind of straight up and down. So basically this line that I just drew is kind of like that first one that we did right in the middle, all right. So I can do that, and then I'm going, since the top and the bottom are already going to the right, I'm going to take the top and the bottom and go out to the left. So, and then I can attach another triangle roof onto it, which is what I'm going to do. I could leave it flat and maybe have it a balcony area, maybe put a little fence up there. There's a lot of different things I could do. This one's just going to be a little bit smaller and kind of connect onto there. Now you noticed with the windows and the doors that whatever side they were on, that's the area where they have to go, the direction that they have to go. The same thing's true for if you did bricks or siding, or maybe we did, there was candy canes instead of a log cabin. And so I'm going to take this side of the house and I'm going out towards the right vanishing point. And this will keep, you got to make sure you go out to that point, because if you don't, it's not going to match up correctly, and you could end up with an awkward looking wall. All right, so all those lines are going in the proper perspective, and maybe I want to round the edges instead of have a straight line there, and this way I can make these into pencils. I guess I could even show, you know, the notch on the side. And if I wanted to, with the lines in there, I can add a window in. So maybe right here and right here, since they're already going out to the point. I might just leave that in there. I could have a little window area in there. Sometimes, just so it stands out a little bit more, I may frame it, give it a little bit of a line outline, just so that it stands out. I just want to make sure that everything is going in the proper perspective. And then if I wanted to add the candy cane swirls onto these, I could start to do that as well. All right? Lots of different things you can do. Like I said, you know, Google search gingerbread houses and really just kind of get that line drawing in there. And we will work on adding some value to them later. And don't forget about your surrounding areas as well. Focus on the house. We'll be working on this for a couple class periods. Hey, 8th grade, like I said, we're going to work on this for a couple class periods. Definitely Google search and look at those examples that I've got to try to get as much of the gingerbread feel to it. Usually the bigger the house, the easier it is to draw some of those things in. Or if you've got different rooms, it doesn't have to be one box. You could have several add-ons, garage, porch, things like that. And you can have 2 stories, all kinds of fun stuff. So have a little fun with that. Just the pencil drawing for right now. We'll talk about whether we're going to add color or we're just going to shade it in as we go. All right? And then I'll see you guys next time. Have fun.